Hi friends, good morning. We've had three sessions till now on verbal where we have actually worked with how to read RC passages. And we did some questions of CAT from 2009 that were on the easier side. Today we'll continue with RC and of course we'll look at how to read and we will also do some more difficult questions in RC, right? So before we begin guys, a short introduction. Hi, I'm Munira Lokhandwala and I'm Calcutta alumna, a serial 100 percentiler in CAT and a 99 percentiler in GMAT. I have a CAT verbal book published by Wiley available on Amazon. You can find me on the Unacademy YouTube live channels. You can also find me on the Unacademy app. So please go to the Play Store, install the app, and go for the Plus CAT courses. Right? We have great content, a lot of tests, a lot of live polls. So please go ahead, subscribe. Which subscription to go for? We can talk towards the end of the session. You can use the code Munira10 to get a 10% discount. So let's start off, guys, with the puzzle that I gave you all at the end of last class, right? So you have the numbers multiplied, two numbers multiplied, right? And you have to find how many nines are there in the multiplication. So, if this question comes to me out of the blue, obviously I'm not going to sit and multiply this, right? I will see how do we multiply by 9 first. So let's say if I have to multiply 7 by 9, what do? I say, okay, of course, we'll just multiply. But the other option is to multiply 7 with 10 and then subtract 7 from it. So I get 63. Okay. If I have to multiply 23 with 99, then I can think of 99 as 100 minus 1, which means I can write 23 followed by two zeros and then subtract 23 from it. So when there is one 9, I have 1 0. When there are two 9s, I have two zeros, and then you just subtract the number back from it, right? So if I'm multiplying these two numbers, which is, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, with 9 nines, then the way to go about it, right, would be to write the number followed by those many zeros, correct? So how many nines are there? There are 9 nines, so I'll write down 9 zeros. 1, 2, 3, another 3, and another 3. And from this, I'll subtract the original number. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Right? And now we just take the difference. So how will we subtract this, guys? Let's go back to school life. So many zeros. This 9 becomes 8. Right? And this is 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, and this is a 10. So you'll get, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 9. And of course, not 9, sorry, this will be 8 because this has become 8, right? And then 8, 7, 6, this number will follow down as it is. So how many 9s are there, guys? There is not a single 9, so the answer is 0. Okay, so see, whenever there's a difficult question, big number, nobody really wants you to actually multiply. There must be some trick, and your job is to find that trick. One of the ways of doing that, guys, is to always work with smaller numbers and see what happens. So here, instead of straight away trying to multiply a number with 9 nines, I said let's try and multiply it with a single 9 and let's see what happens, right? What is the rule? How do we go about it more quickly? Once you start thinking like that, no puzzle is unsolvable, right? So great, let's move on to reading comprehension. So we are going to do 4 passages with 5 questions each. As usual, right, when we are doing RC, you can pause here, read this passage properly, make notes, right? And there's another part, so pause here also, read this properly, make notes, and then you should look at the question. So even while we are doing a question like this, you should pause, solve the question, then look at a solution, right? So it should always be that pause here, read this, pause in the part 2, read this, and then look at questions. Okay? CAT passages, guys, it's never advisable to look at questions first and then read and try and look for answers. That is just going to confuse you. So let's read this together. Let's see what are the important points and then we'll solve the questions. So the reformer and Yashwant Sinha did come out ever so creepingly on the evening of June 1. For the first time in 50 years, finance minister making a budget speech has the courage to use the word privatization. So all this is flowery language. Basically, the point of these two sentences is that you're saying that first time in 50 years somebody has spoken about privatization. Okay. Sinha's statement that government stake will be reduced is good. The modalities and will be used should be spelled out. Okay, this is a bekar statement. Obviously, it won't be. India's fundamental fiscal problem is that debt servicing consumes a big portion. The only way is to privatize. Okay, so they are just saying that good. They spoke about privatization. It is important. That's the first paragraph. Like Manmohan Singh in July also mustered some courage to cut this subsidy. However, he has kept more undeserved concessions like the sugar subsidy, has also shown great political wisdom. Okay, continuity is here alive and real. But barring a few flourishes like these, this is a pusillanimous budget, so it's not a great budget. Sinha has lost the chance to usher in another era of Big Bang reforms. The budget completely ignores the fallout of Pokhran. Okay, here was an opportunity of sharing the government's assessment of the cost of nuclear asset. So they're saying that the has lost the chance to get in another big set of reforms. They did not talk about Pokhran, right? And assumes that net external assistance will double. This is not possible, has ignored the economic consequences of nuclearization, right? Except in his efforts at wooing fickle NRIs. So, fickle is not a positive word, okay? Fickle is someone who keeps changing their mind, who does not have a stable outlook. Like those perennial all party favorites, the Hindujas. In any case, NRIs must remain the only species wanting softs and incentives to invest in their home country. Okay, so they're saying that going ahead by assuming this net external assistant will double is not possible. Untenable is not possible. The budget numbers are deceptive. 1600 crores is for higher education and priority is primary education. In the power sector, plan outlay for PSUs has been hiked, but budget support is actually down. Power PSUs were expected to raise 4500, but they have not raised so much. Okay, so this talks mostly about power and higher education and how it has not done a good job to raise an extremely unrealistic. Okay, story itself repeats in other infrastructure like these, right? Only 80% of the funds allocated was spent. Thus, absorptive capacity and structural bottlenecks are the real issue. So the lack of fund is not the real issue. The budget is silent on this. After 7 years, lobbies have once again surfaced and dictated wholly arbitrary duty changes in chemicals. There are now 12 rates. This reverses the easier trend towards simplification. Okay, so it starts by saying that, hey, this is a good job done. He spoke about privatization. He also cut this fertilizer subsidy, but then there are all these problems that. So first, okay, there are some words that you'll always encounter that you don't know too much about. For example, pusillanimous, I know, is something that is the opposite of courageous. Okay, but I don't know the exact meaning. But it doesn't matter, right? You know it's a negative word. Why? Because barring a few flourishes, and there's a but. So even if you don't know the words properly, guys, you can still go ahead and understand the RC. Look at this. The budget assumes, and you have the word untenable. Untenable means, of course, it's not going to happen. It's not possible. Okay. Fickle. Even if you don't know fickle, you can see that he's against NRIs. NRIs must remain the only species. When you talk about someone as if they're species or animals, right? You have a negative outlook on NRIs. That's straight away obvious. So do not get too caught up in the meaning of words. That's one. Second, do not rush to a dictionary. CAT में कोई dictionary नहीं देगा आपको. You have to assume the meaning of a word based on these conjunctions like but, etc. And you have to move on. Okay, so you do that whenever you're taking a test, whenever you're practicing questions. While doing it, do not rush to a dictionary. जब आपका सब हो जाता है, solve हो जाता है, and you still feel that you want to know more about this word, then go ahead and look at a dictionary, right? But not straight away. So now we have a good idea, right, of the whole passage. It starts by saying great and then it says not so great. That's very simply how the passage works. Now let's look at questions. First question. It can be inferred from the passage that all NRIs are wealthy people. If they said some NRIs are wealthy people, because NRIs need, they are going to invest. So obviously they have money to invest. So some NRIs, if are wealthy, then it becomes an inference. See, an inference has to be true, guys. When I say कि infer, okay, that means I want to conclude based on something given. So I can't conclude all NRIs are wealthy. ये all problem है. So one is out, which means both 1 and 2 are out. The writer attacks for the need. Yes, he does. He's calling them fickle. He's calling them a species. He's against them. So the answer is option 2. Right? Great. Second question. The purpose behind the passage is. So, dream budget का तो बात ही नहीं हुआ है. He has just spoken about, how he has spoken about privatization. But what is a dream budget? That's not there. So whether it's an argument in favor of, for, or against dream budgets are out of scope. Is it about the country's financial objectives? No, he or she, completely talking about the budget. So it's a critical look. Positives and negatives both are mentioned, so it's a critical look. When you say critical in this context, guys, you don't mean to say negative. A critique or a critical aspect is always a well-reasoned, sober, right? उसमें पॉजिटिव भी होता है, नेगेटिव भी होता है. तो critique here and critical, it means, doesn't mean that it has to be completely negative. Okay. Third question. The outlay on higher education. Why is it mentioned, guys? It's mentioned here, right? No, it's not mentioned here. It's mentioned here, yeah. That 1600 crores of the 2300 crores is on account of higher education. Okay. When the priority is primary education. So, again, now let's look at options. The low value that higher, no, we are not saying, see, this is negative. We are not saying that higher education provides any sort of high or low value, right? The value that the government, no, we spoke about the example to say that we should have spent on primary, but we are spending on higher education. That's all we want to say with that example. So it's a discrepancy between what is important and where it is assigned. So the answer is option 3. Discrepancy between input and output, no way. Then what is the input, what is the output here, right? Okay. According to the author, what is India's primary fiscal problem? So, of course, it seems कि हाँ policy अच्छा नहीं है, revenue, debt, privatization नहीं है, right? He's openly welcome privatization. But if you come here, you see he has clearly mentioned India's fundamental fiscal problem, guys. So, let me just get my pen. India's fundamental fiscal problem is that debt servicing consumes 46%. So that is the problem. And can we see that somewhere? The lack of coherent fiscal policy? No. Lack of funds? No. Lack of privatization? No. It is the outlay of revenue into debt. Okay, how revenue is used to service debt, right? So yeah, answer is option 2. How is the passage organized? So this is not very difficult. This is one of the easier questions here, right? That first of all, it's only about the budget. Okay, it is not about the finance minister at all. He or she never gets personal, right? Again, it's not about the finance minister. So ये दोनों तो गए options. उसको bye bye बोल दो. Okay. Second or third को देखो. So you start by praising it and then you criticize it. You don't start by criticizing it. So your answer is option 3, right? Great. Let's look at the second passage. So pause here, read this, and then pause here and read this. Okay, now let's read it together. What is a public good? So you're saying what is a public good? You can understand by comparing it with a private good. Private goods are traded in markets. Buyers and sellers meet through the price mechanism. They agree on a price. The ownership can be transferred. Tend to exclude only some people. So you have a private goods ka. So the first paragraph is giving us a good idea about public goods by actually comparing with private. And it gives us very clearly what a private good is. Then the second one says, who provides public goods? They are there for all to enjoy. So, for private actors to let others go first and seek to enjoy the good, obviously, all of us are private actors, actually, guys, individuals. So, we are not going to go ahead and produce it. If it's already there, we'll enjoy it first. This is a dilemma that public goods face. Okay, without some sort of action, the risk being under provided. Conversely, without collective, so जैसे ही public goods can be under, public bads can become over if nobody's right, if nobody's checking it. So street crime, noise, pollution, ये बढ़ता रहेगा if nobody's checking it. So it's talking about the problem, about the provision of public goods and public bad. That is your second paragraph. Global public goods are public goods whose benefit reach. So abhi, you just introduced public goods and the problem. And the third one talks about what a global public good is. More concrete, consider for example the eradication of smallpox with an example and averting the risk of global climate. Correct? So they are giving two examples. Similarly, international regimes all have significant, all of these things are global publicness. Okay? So that is done. Great. Now the next two paragraphs. At the national level, states often step in to facilitate the collective action. Right? Internationally, there is no such thing. Obviously, national level where the government will try to do something, but nobody is going to take care of things internationally. कि बाकी किसी को तकलीफ ना हो, right? Yet, as history has shown, if global public goods do correspond to national needs and self-interest, states do manage to reach agreement on coordinated action. Okay. Now the challenge is that national public bads should not become global public bads. Okay, so this requires states' willingness to cooperate, and it's increasingly becoming a harder bargain. So, यहाँ पे we spoke about global public goods, and now we are talking about how national and global what is the problem. Okay, nationally things still work out, but globally there is no institution, and you have to drive a bargain to ensure that national public bad like terrorism does not become a global public bad, right? Therefore, it is essential to recognize that the publicness of a good does not automatically imply that all people value it in the same way. Poor people won't care about passports, right? They will worry more about health. Other people may think that, terrorism is more important, stability is more important. But somebody else may actually think that disease absence is more important, right? Also, global public goods must not be allowed to further exacerbate existing inequities. It should not, make exacerbate means बढ़ाना नहीं चाहिए current inequalities. So although public, some may not be accessible to the poor. The internet, for example, is public, at least for some people, right? You have free Wi-Fi in hotels, but can the poor access it? No. And others, such as a free trade regime, may give rise to a winner take all. Okay. So if the trade is free, then whoever capitalist countries may do better. If these concerns are neglected, people's and states' willingness will suffer, and so will global public goods. Okay. So this is mostly about what is a public good compared to a private good, how they are over provided, under provided, what is a global public good, how nations are dealing with it, and how global public goods have different value for different people. It's very well organized, 5 paragraphs. Let's look at the questions. Which of the following is not a difference between a public good and a private good? Okay. So it is not a difference, guys. So differences we will eliminate and we'll mark the option that is not a difference. So use of private goods can be limited to a few, right? While public goods, sorry, this should be public goods, can be enjoyed by all, right? So this is obviously true. So this is not a difference. So second can be eliminated. A private good once consumed may not be available, but a public good, this is also true, like a traffic signal का जो उन्होंने clear example दिया था. So this is a difference. You want something that's not a difference. Private goods have a price while public good, this is also a difference. Private goods are traded in the market while public goods are provided by non-state actors. Sometimes these goods are not even provided. Sometimes the goods are just there, right? Like good air. So this is where the, they even if they are provided, they will be provided by state, not by non-state. So the answer is option 1. 1 is wrong in 2-3 ways, right? So that is your answer. Sorry for the public thing. Otherwise, of course, if the public was not an error, then you would mark 2. But yeah, this is an error. Okay. 7th, which of the following is not true about the provision of public goods and public bads? Now, public goods and public bads are provided out of the market, right? Market where nobody is providing public things. So 1 is true. Without intervention, public goods are under-provided, guys. And the bads are over-provided. ये तो बताया गया है ना कि pollution बढ़ जाता है if there is no intervention. And public goods are, so if you just see here, correct? Without some sort, they risk being under-provided. Public goods risk being under-provided without intervention. So this is clearly wrong. Correct? It goes against what the passage says. Let's check the other options, guys, as I tell you, right? English में it's about eliminating. Collective action is needed? Yes, of course. वो तो अभी we read, right? This collective action is needed. No institution exists. This is also there. Nationally there are institutions, but internationally there is no such institution. So your answer is option 2. Third, which of the following does not fit the definition of global public goods? Global public goods means it's available for the public. So IPR is available for public, right? As an individual, I can access it. International markets are available for the public. Internet is available for public, but satellites are available for the government. International satellites, right, excluding Google Maps, all other satellites are used for warfare and they are available for government. They are not for public. So the answer is option 3. Which of the following is true about global public goods? Global public goods are synonymous with international public goods. Almost, perhaps, I don't know. Let's keep it right now. Okay, you want something true. Globalization of private activities, no Ray. Private activities will remain private. It is national public goods that work across countries that become global public goods. So this is not true. Rich businessmen of the world do not need, no, we all need global public goods, right? We need eradication of smallpox. We need clean air. So this is not true. Global public goods may have a different value for different people. Yeah, this is clearly given. So global public goods need not be synonymous with international public goods. That is not given anywhere. But 4 is clearly given, so your answer is option 4. See guys, how you, now if I just look at one and say, okay, global or international, तो same word hai, but maybe there's some other trick to international, right? We don't know. You have to be sure that it's clearly true. 4 is clearly mentioned. Internet is given as an example. International passport is given as an example, right? So answer is option 4. Which of the following is not necessarily a public good? So air is available to all. You cannot control it. Can we control this is your question. You cannot control air. Public roads available to public, cannot control. Public parks available to public, cannot control. But water, there are countries that actually charge a price for water. People pay water, taxes, water prices. So water need not necessarily be a public good. Even in India, right, you have to buy water that comes in tankers. So nobody needs to ever buy air or public roads or public parks, right? Great. Let's look at the next passage. So, as I said, pause here, read it, read this as well, and now we look at the passage. We can just read it together. Some have a dream that there will be equal number of men and women in all jobs, but it is utopian. Utopian means perfect, not possible. It assumes that if all doors are opened, all discrimination ended, then they would professionally be indistinguishable. Right? So here only you can see what the author thinks. Okay, it's not possible. जब यहाँ ये statement आ जाता है ना, this is what I mean by active reading. As soon as you read this statement, you should know कि author does not agree with this. The dream is sustained by a cult of political correctness that ignores the facts of life. Okay. That the human mind likes to bury experience as it builds belief. So जैसे belief बढ़ता है, it doesn't look at experience. Here I will argue that men and women are born different. Yet even we scientists deny this, allowing us to identify the best candidate for jobs and promotions by subjecting men and women to the same tests. But these tests favor predominantly male characteristics. We choose more men and we discourage women. Science would be better served if we gave more opportunity and power to the gentle, the reflective, and the creative individuals of both sexes. And if we did, more women would be selected, more would choose to stay, and more would get to the top. So they're saying that the test biases men. We should have better tests and we should go for gentle, reflective people also. If we do that, we'll get more women. It is not easy to write or talk about this subject. If you say, for example, that women are on average more understanding, then misogyny is hatred of women. Okay, misogyny is hatred of women. Misanthropy is hatred of humankind. If you say that boys on average are more likely than girls to become, people may react as if you plan to ban all women. Okay. Cambridge published research on the male brain but did not dare to talk about his ideas in public for several years. One reason is that we cannot think objectively because our minds are full of ghosts. And one of these ghosts is that are on average the same must not be containance, must not be considered. इसको ऐसा ही सोचो. Consider. Such ghosts bias our perceptions and censor our thoughts. So pehla they are saying that men and women are not equal and the test favors men. If the test change, more women can come. Second paragraph talks about there is a difference, but we can't talk about it. Third says you cannot distinguish the psychological of any person by knowing their sex. Okay. Arguing that men and women typically are different, he points out that some women have the male brain, some men have the female brain. Stereotyping is unscientific. Individuals are just that individuals. So he's saying that on an average, right, men have male brains and women have female brains, but some women have the male brain, so you cannot generalize. So stereotyping you are saying is you cannot generalize. Everyone is individual. Yet are biologically predisposed to systemize, to analyze and forget, while females are innately designed to empathize, right? Communicate and care. Males tend to think narrowly and obsess, think broadly. Women think broadly. Keep that in mind, okay? Many facts argue that these differences have their roots in biology and genetics. It is hardly necessary to point out that you cannot distinguish between nature and nurture. However, new infants have been shown a real face, so nature obviously plays a role. On average, boys look longer and girls look longer at the face. Second, such differences must have developed earlier. Testosterone. So, not testosterone, testosterone. So, they are giving now the reasons why there's a difference. Nature, nurture, genetics, right? Everything, testosterone level. For example, giving older men testosterone specifically improves their ability with those spatial is test designed to look at maps locations on which males normally score higher. So when you have testosterone, you have more male-like abilities. Autism spectrum conditions are genetically biased and have been described. People communicate poorly and have difficulties. They may treat others. They often become obsessed and show repetitive behavior. Most relevant is that it is sex limited, being 4 to 9 times more frequent in males. So when it comes to absence of empathies, males are more likely to get it. From many studies, including psychology and neuroanatomy, that autism spectrum conditions are an extreme form of maleness. So the more male you are, the less you'll empathize, and you will be able to analyze perhaps. And the more female you are, the more you're better at empathizing and communicating. Okay, so we have understood the passage and the paragraphs. Let's look at the questions. What is the opinion of the author about parity between number of men and number of women in jobs? It is, no, he says, right, it is utopian. Utopian means nahi, practicably nahi hai. So he's not saying it's possible, but it needs this. He's saying it is utopian, it is too perfect, so it cannot happen. So if you see the options, it has to be the third option. It is not a reality. He's saying it cannot be achieved, and so it's it's utopian. Right? We shouldn't even go back to check. ये तो straight away अपना mark हो जाना चाहिए, right? So the answer is option 3. 12th question, which of the following is true about career opportunities in science? Men and women are treated as equals? No, they're not. Are masculine qualities preferred? Say he's not saying what. In fact, he's saying gentle, reflective is better, right? So, those are qualities. So, this is a difficult question, guys. Let me tell you, right? He's saying that creative qualities, reflective qualities are better, and women possess them, so women will come in to the system. He's not saying you should prefer this. He's not saying females should be preferred. He's saying the qualities should be preferred. You can go back and check, right? By subjecting, but since these tests favor predominantly male, he's talking about favoring characteristics. He's not talking about favoring any of the genders. If he gave to the gentle, the reflective, and the creative individual, he's saying favor the qualities, not the individuals, right? So both 2 and 3 are out because of that, because it's talking about ek to qualities that should be preferred are female, right? Not male. तो ये तो गलत है. And qualities are preferred, not females. तो ये भी गलत है. They are not treated as equals. ये तो गलत ही है. So answer is option 4. We know that the tests for jobs and promotions are biased towards men. Why is it difficult to write or talk about the subject of the inherent difference between males and females? So, he's saying very clearly, it is not easy to write about this subject. And then he's giving examples. यहाँ पे why it is not easy नहीं बताया है. Last में, one reason for this absurd taboo is that we cannot think objectively because our minds are filled with ghosts. And one of these ghosts is that we are equal. That is what he clearly states. Okay. So it's not because of political correctness. It is not because, we look as if we are a male chauvinist or because the feminine idea is not acceptable. It is because we have this ghost that men and women are equal and that clouds our thinking. Right? Great. Which of the following is true according to the research? Just by knowing the sex, one can determine. No, that is very clearly said. That is not true at all. Females are generally, see, so ये extreme नहीं है. ये तो clearly बोला है कि females are better at communicating. Of course, you can't generalize, but more often than not, females are better. Females with male brains are more effective. No, he's just saying that some females have male brains and some males have female brains. Who's more effective? He is not saying. And males do not have better memories. You should, if you want, you can go back and check, right? That very clearly mentioned here that men are more forgetful of others. Males on average are biologically forgetful. It's mentioned here. Right? So there is no better memory. So the answer is option 2. 15th question. Which of the following may not be one of the reasons for the difference? So testosterone is a difference. Genetic बोला गया है difference. Nature nurture का भी रोल है, दोनों का रोल है, ये सब बताया गया है. Physical features का कुछ नहीं बोला है ना. Height, weight, physically how male and female look. So if you see, right, have the roots in तो genetic mention किया है ना, biology and genetics वो mention किया है here. Okay, it is distinguishing between contributions. This is also not possible. So nurture plays a role, बट फिजिकल फीचर तो कहीं नहीं मेंशन किया है. So that is your answer. So guys, this was a difficult set, definitely. Passage 3 was more difficult than the others, right? But if you read carefully and if you always believe in eliminating options that we do all the time, you should do much better. Okay? So great. Now we are on our last passage. Pause and read. Pause and read this also. And now we can read it together. So this is a very horrible passage to read, guys, compared to the other passages. The one before this, at least male female equality, we have an idea. Public private good, वो सब वर्ड समझ में आते हैं. अभी यहाँ पे आओ, बायोटिक इंटरैक्शन से शुरू होता है. व्हाट इज बायोटिक इंटरैक्शन? एनीवे, अब दिया है तो पढ़ना पड़ेगा. Among students of biotic interactions, there has developed a controversial law or principle that is of more than academic interest, since it has social implications of the most far-reaching scope. So there is some controversial law that has social implications. The law has become known as the principle of competitive exclusion. Okay, or this after. Okay, so जो hypothesis है, what is the principle? That populations of two species cannot persist together when both compete for and are limited by a common resource. The social problem relates is that of two culturally isolated non-interbreeding populations. So if you have two culturally isolated non-interbreeding populations, then both cannot survive if they are competing for a common resource. Oof. अगर दो अलग स्पीशीज है, राइट, और दोनों को एक ही कॉमन रिसोर्स चाहिए, विच कैन बी लेट्स से वाटर, ओके, और इट कैन बी फूड, देन दोनों स्पीशीज आगे जाके नहीं, दे कैन नॉट स्टे टुगेदर. Before we focus on the social problem, we must go back into evolutionary and population biology to understand the implications. Biologists usually define a species in terms of an interbreeding population. Interbreeding means that they marry within each other and give birth to children. So they breed. If such a population is isolated into two subgroups because of geographical barriers, वो अलग हो जाते हैं, then each group experiences different environmental pressures and different genetic drifts. तो ये आगे जाके they will become sufficiently speciated, sufficiently different, so that they will not interbreed. Two species will have arisen from a single initial species, the way I think different races came about. Between the original species and the final stage between original, there will be a Bijka stage at which the two groups will have some differences, but they will still interbreed. At this stage, the two groups are subspecies or races. The same factors operate in human population, and it must be argued that if any human subgroup were kept in complete reproductive isolation, it would eventually become a new species. Because human sexuality is periodically stronger than cultural barriers, right? So interbreeding hence becomes more difficult to implement. This type is unlikely because वो interbreeding होते ही रहेगा, because human sexuality is stronger than cultural barriers. Okay, great. The consequence is that when two similar species, so पहला वाला just the first paragraph states what it is, second explains it, and now the consequence is that when you have two species, one is eliminated or they modify their behavior, either adaptively or genetically. Two non-interbreeding human populations present a close analog to the Gauss hypothesis, while in nature we have only genetic species, so genetic differences, को ऐसा ही सोचो difference. We have cultural also difference where members do not interbreed for cultural reasons. If the two groups are in competition for a limited resource, we must assume that competitive exclusion will happen, and over a period, one of the sequels listed above will take place. In human populations, there is a third possibility. ये दोनों के अलावा, the cultural barriers are lowered and the groups merge in a single unit where intra-group competition within the group rather than between groups governs the subsequent behavior. तो ये दो के अलावा there is a third possibility that are lowered. So you must ask about the possibility of a solution that does not consider the principle of competitive exclusion. This is the principle of exclusion. Okay, should take into account when they search for a solution. It allows one group, so that is apna wala, ye first, right, drives out or destroys the other. two niches are created where there is no resource competition, and third is कि non interbreeding का end हो जाता है तो culturally no difference हो जाता है. The theory suggests that any other solution will lead to continuing conflict. Okay, so ये तीन solutions are the only possibility. Great, let's look at options, questions. Please pause, read, solve, and then look at the solutions. So of all the passages we have done, guys, this is the most difficult. You can see we took some time to understand only. Unless there is considerable cultural difference, humans cannot avoid the inevitable disintegration. अभी देखो पहले तो पैसेज ही टफ था, अब ऑप्शन में डबल नेगेटिव डाल दिया, unless or cannot. So what this is saying is, if there is considerable difference, right, humans cannot avoid the inevitable. So humans can avoid, if there is difference, they can avoid disintegration. तो ये दोनों negatives हमने निकाल दिए, unless or cannot. But what the passage says is कि to avoid disintegration, you have to lower the cultural barriers. अगर culturally difference है तो ही पंगा होता है ना. Correct? Culturally, if you are different, then you do not interbreed, and then it leads to a problem. So one goes against the central idea. Okay. Unless cultural barriers between various groups are lowered, the human race cannot. So you see, first of all, that these two are opposite. They are saying cultural difference होना चाहिए unless के साथ, और यहाँ हम बोल रहे हैं कि have to be lowered. So if they are lowered, the human race can escape. Yes, they can escape because then they interbreed. And then it becomes an intra-group competition and not an inter-group competition. So 2 is the central idea. The root cause of strife in the world is the cultural barriers which make biotic interaction difficult. एक तो biotic interaction सिर्फ शुरू में बताया गया है. Exactly वो कौन सा type का interaction है, we don't even know. So third option is out. See, again there is extreme, it's extreme also. It's not saying कि दुनिया में यही problem है और कोई problem नहीं है, right? Racial conflict prevalent in the world. So it's not about racial conflict. We're not even talking about races that much in the passage, right? So this is also out of scope. Your only possibility is option 2. Which of the following statements is false? Human beings, ये बताया है ना? If you come back here and you say कि generally there's genetic difference, but in human populations there's a third possibility also, cultural speciation. I think it's here also. Where is it eventually? Most unlikely, because okay, so I think it's here only. Find while in nature we have in humans it's very clearly given here. In humans we have cultural speciation, right? So human beings are the only, so this is true. In biotic interaction, it's more commonly found that one species often modifies its behavior, okay, rather than trying. So ये बताया है कि these are the two possibilities, but which takes over we don't know, right? We don't know between the two which happens. So 17, the second option is saying that it's more commonly found, that we cannot say. Does not apply in cases where two species are not in competition. Yeah, this is also true. Okay. When cultural isolation between various groups is minimal, so culturally they are not different, then they merge, and there is, so this is also true. So 4 is true, 3 is true, this is true. But as I said, this is not true. They have not said that, they will prefer this over the other. So the second statement is false. 18th. Which of the following, if true, would considerably weaken the central thesis of Gauss's hypothesis? So the hypothesis is, if there is a common resource for which people fight, then this is what is going to happen. So if resources are limited or unlimited does not matter, because it does not say that resources have to be limited. If there is a common resource, people will fight. So this is not an important point. Human sexuality, right? is occasionally considerably stronger than cultural barriers. This is given, and it does not weaken the central thesis, right? So one is also out. It is not possible genetically. So they're saying it need not be genetical, right? Adaptively or genetically. If you see यहाँ पे, either adaptively or genetically is mentioned. So this also does not weaken because our argument works with all these things. But the argument says, it assumes, right, if you come here, that if such a population, then each group experiences environmental pressure and different genetic drift. ये assume किया है. And if it is different, then they will become different species, then they will not interbreed, then all these problems will happen. So it assumes that the different genetic drifts will take place. And if that doesn't happen, then you will not have different species, there won't be a difference, and then the interbreeding will continue to take place. So 4 weakens. Okay. Among the 3 possible solutions, the author, so come on, right? Nobody is going to say, I would prefer, ये तो कुछ भी passage हो, you just read this and you know what the author is going to prefer. He is not going to prefer one. 2 niches are created. That is also, nobody wants to, say, I prefer high class, low class, 2 different classes. This is the nice, right? Anybody would say, at least on paper, if you're writing something, you'll say, okay, I would prefer to end non-interbreeding. So the answer is option 3. You should not even go back and check, guys. It's logical. Unless while reading you felt that the author is unreasonable. But no, everybody is politically correct. Passage आया है आपके cat में तो politically correct ही होगा. Nobody is going to write vague passages, right? So 19 का answer should be 3. 20. The author considers important because. So why is it important? So if you see a controversial, that is, since it has social applications of the most far-reaching scope because of the social implications applications. So coming back here, your answer clearly far-reaching social implications. Modern biology, कुछ modern biology का बात, biology का भी बात नहीं है. Speciation, it doesn't explain. We are trying to understand what speciation is. There's no explanation. Throws considerable light. No, it doesn't tell us why species are evolved. Who did that, guys? Just for general knowledge, Darwin did that, not Mr. Gauss, right? So the answer is option 3. So great. I hope you have enjoyed today's session. As I said, this was more difficult. Okay, you had to read between the lines, and it was difficult to read the lines themselves. How will we read between the lines? So anyway, before we move on, the puzzle. You have these numbers and they're grouped in pairs so that the sum of each pair is the same, which number is paired with 15. Okay. Your reading assignment, guys. Rest cure is a very interesting concept. It was well used in 19th century. So you should read up about this. And where will we meet again? We'll meet today evening at 6 o'clock, where we'll do jumbled paragraphs, mostly TETA questions. Type in the answer questions, right? And then, of course, we'll meet on Saturday, where you can ask me anything as long as it's related to the cat, right? You can also find me on Unacademy. Guys, as I said, look at the kind of amazing things that you can get with Unacademy. We continually update our list of educators and content and even the tests. We have great live doubt solving sessions, so please go ahead and subscribe to the app. With subscription to go for. So if you're focused on CAT 2020, you should go for the 12-month subscription. But if you're confused between the CAT 20 or CAT 20 or 21, then you should go for the 2-year subscription. You can use the code Munira10 to get a 10% discount. And great. I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.